Welcome to Auto World Museum. Well, the original museum was started in 1996. 150 cars all crammed together in what we call the old Kmart building. This one was 2006. I can barely fit 80-something in here, depending on what you call a car. Bill, William Backer, who owned Backer Potato Chips, who owned the collection, would look at every classified ad there was in Hemmings, Auto Trader, etc. You know, Bill just did his homework. Most of the cars in the older part of the collection, most people hadn't heard of. That's the thing, all the car manufacturers, people like, who the heck is Scripps Booth? Or Will St. Clair and those sorts of things. They were very important car manufacturers at the time, and Bill knew to collect them. Again, great eye. Most car museums are strictly just a bunch of cars all crammed together. There is nothing that shows you any context on where they came from in time period. Been to a lot of museums and it just drove me nuts that the cars are just stuck together, any car museum. And so I just thought it was absolutely important to bring the context of whatever they're showing and their specialty is to that time period. I came across most of the photos from the state and local archives. We did a lot of research. Fulton had a lot of pictures, scanned them in at a very high resolution, and then sent them off to basically a billboard printing company. The cars behind me, the van here, are only two parade cars, so the only two we have running. We couldn't dare insure or afford to insure all of these cars to leave the building, essentially. So we have to pick and choose. So we do have a lot of very pretty statues, but they are maintained and they are loved on the best we can.
The house was built in 1899. There's actually a previous house that was here that was built in 1885, from my understanding. The house was a personal residence for over 90 years before it became a bed and breakfast. Mrs. Logan started it in the early 90s. She's the one that got it started. She was an interior decorator, so basically what you see is still her legacy of the home. It's always interesting to, see the old furniture. Like we have a table here that was part of my family. It's over 100 years old that is now a puzzle table. You think back, like, did that person even think that that table was still going to be used, 100 years later? And here we are, still enjoying this home and a lot of the furnishings. They just don't build things like they used to, even so. When we came in, we really wanted to just create a home away from home vibe. So we redone the lounge to make it more group friendly, just updating some of the rooms, kind of bringing them out of the 1980s into the, into the current era.
The museum was established really to recognize the speech that Churchill gave at Westminster College. Here at America's National Churchill Museum, we have original speeches, letters, and documents, but also sculptures and paintings. Winston Churchill was a painter. We get to see all facets of the man, not just the speech that he gave at Westminster College, however important that may be, but the context of his full life. We're a little bit like a presidential library for a British Prime Minister, where you explore from really birth to death and beyond Winston Churchill's life and his continuing relevance and legacy. Winston Churchill is one of the most oft-quoted politicians in the world, and that's something that the museum really commemorates and lifts up to the visitors who can come here and learn not only about the speech that happened here, but to be inspired by the past. What lessons can we learn from the past, the good lessons? That's really what the museum is about as well. So the president of Westminster College, Larry Davidson, had a great idea. He said, why don't we move from central London to mid-Missouri a Christopher Wren church that was bombed in the Blitz in London and rebuild it to honor Winston Churchill in Fulton, Missouri. a bold idea, audacious really. It dates from the 17th century. It was rebuilt in London in 1667. It's a very, very old church that was destroyed by the Great Fire in London, rebuilt in England, and destroyed in the Blitz in World War II, and rebuilt in America. It's an incredible story of resilience. You can knock the church down, but it always seems to be built back up. And that's what we've done here to honor Churchill. It's an extraordinary exhibit. And it really is the largest work in our collection, and unlike anything else in North America. I like to say that if history seems old, we're not doing our job.